Through all of my long nights and all of my bitter travels, it wasn't until last night that I thought, my God, maybe this really was all worth it. What? I feel like we've shifted narrators again. Also, families gathering and fucking... Hold on. Oh, yeah. This is... I think this is Cliff. I saw families gathering on the mesa. The beatific joy and the good-natured laughter and the colors borrowed from the good earth itself were not something my grandfather nor the scholars of Europa could begin to dream of. I know I'm a stranger in their midst, but after just one night, I do not feel this way. I dare not share it. The big humble bear smiles at me as we walk. I don't remember Yiska's voice. Did you sleep well, Mr. Tibbets? His accent is quite thick, but his grammar is wonderful, so I can still understand what he says. I assume he must think the same, considering Albion isn't my first language either. Again, Albion. Is this the first... I don't recall at all hearing Albion being used at any point. I guess it's one of those, like, I don't remember Earth or America being referenced, but, like, Albion? We're all speaking Albion? I don't know. Oh, better than ages, really. On rocks and furs? I would have thought you'd prefer a softer Western-style bed, like at the inn. I put my paws on my hips. Now I know I might look precious, but I can assure you that I am used to roughing it just as much, if not more, than some of my companions. I found out last night that his role in this community was far more important than I initially knew, leading to the first night of one of the chants. I'm just thankful that you're willing to accompany me through the settlement and help me get my bearings. That chant will go on another night, so I do not think that we will find many others in the village to talk to. Another night? I've heard of such practices before, but it's a bit different to think about when you spend most of the previous day participating in one. Yes? That's one of our shorter chants. Sometimes they're longer. What's the longest one you can remember? He pauses. 7 days? That's so long! He chuckles. Sometimes there's a lot to cover. I stop walking, turn to him, and give him a low bow. Making you leave a chant early on my accord would leave a stain on my conscience. If my presence has intruded upon or interrupted your way of life in any way, I have to humbly apologize. Wow. Okay, so... I was describing to Aaron when he was out here about some of the inner conflict of Cliff and his confronting of the old world mentality and confronting the many motivations he has. Because he's got his familial obligation, trying to be a success, all to eventually return to Europa to live a life that's been set up for him that isn't ultimately satisfying because of his, who he is. But that's what he came here to do. He's also trying to fulfill an obligation to James Hendricks, which he's realizing is more nefarious than he originally thought. But it's all also in the context of 1920s colonialism, which is not one that is steeped in understanding and sensitivity to culture, especially for European travelers to native cultures in North America. And so because of that, there was a lot of conflict inside of Cliff's character to be one of a good-natured person who feels alienated no matter where he is, finding people that he cares about in a land that he feels a stranger in which he feels like a stranger, but also feels closer to these people more so than in his own homeland. And so the idea that he has to try to come to terms with his original mission, whether he tries to fulfill that mission, whether he tries to do what he was there for, whether he tries to do all these other things, trying to come to terms with the dehumanizing goal that he came there to do, and that being slowly chipped away as he gets to know all these people and gets to know the culture as being more than just a marvel to be looked at in a book. You know, that is all a very complex thing to go through in a character, because it's stuff that doesn't regularly get, you know, written down in history books, but was likely happening. But within, you know, a day of being at this settlement, just hearing that he's interrupted a chant, he's apologizing for his entire presence, interrupting the way of life in any way. It feels like we already know that Cliff is not on the side of James Hendricks. That has already been established by trying to rally against the establishment of the railroad. So we already know that Cliff... Oh, God. My remote was shoved up underneath my TV. We already know that Cliff is not on the side of James Hendricks, and we know that Cliff's journey is essentially one of trying to get from old world shit mentality to one of hopefully better tolerance and development. But this is pretty fucking quick, and one of the better parts of understanding and detailing development of a character is in the struggles to try to do it, and because it doesn't happen overnight. Anyway, let's see how the line and this thought process plays out. The bear smiles and scratches the back of his head. That sort of chant is one we do whenever we feel a need for it. There will be others like it. And you know, we've had anthropologists visiting us for decades. Some stay for much longer than a mere week, at least since the Treaty of 1868. Sometimes a we get so used to them living in the community and asking questions, they, as a joke, become considered a part of the family. That's so nice. It's nice, really. I don't necessarily mean that it's ideal for everybody. Oh, of course. Just more so that it's a particular peculiarity that we've gotten used to. Anthropologists like you have aided missionaries in a group effort to translate and record our language and our beliefs. But it doesn't mean they are respected or valued more than as a curiosity. This is exactly what I was talking about. So it's just a matter of seeing if Cliff's development as a character reflects this, or if we're just getting talked to about it. I see. Are there words that haven't been translated yet? Yes, especially ones that they already have words for. But we have our own names for wildlife and flowers. There are customs that we do not feel comfortable sharing too. I point to a nearby oak tree that's sitting next to the church. Could I hear your name for that? The bear smiles and clears his throat. I think I hear him say something along the lines of Alona, but I can't be certain. Oh. There's the Reverend Caldwell. This is going to be a weird mix of voices to try to do it all together. It was already hard to do Cliff and Caldwell in the same fucking thing, so now we got Cliff, Caldwell, Cliff, and fucking, Yiska? Is this Yiska? Yeah, Yiska. Quite the odd couple you make. Caldwell is standing outside of the church. You're late again. I take a look at my pocket watch. Only 15 minutes. The Reverend rolls his eyes. And see, I'm already fucking it up because it's close enough to bleed over, but far enough away that the little idiosyncrasies make the differences. Consistent, at least. 15 minutes may be nothing to you, but the children are on a schedule. Given that the nature of your thesis centers on work, I thought it would be pertinent to show you that the sustainability of this settlement starts with school. He beckons us down to the hallway leading to the chapel. It's empty right now, but he leads us through a corridor on the left side of the crucifix-shaped building. It leads to a long room furnished modestly. I swear I've seen this picture somewhere before. I don't know. Several dozen boys and girls dressed in white shirts and black pants, looking over Bible scripture, copying specific passages onto brown paper with quills and ink. It doesn't look that different from my schooling experience, aside from the fact that everybody is much better behaved. But what strikes me as odd is the quiet. Back in my school days, it would be whispers and giggles between compatriots, and even the quietest of study halls on occasion. But here the room is only filled with the sound of scratches on paper and the bubbling of ink. Heating and guaranteed lunch and morning meals that they would often otherwise miss are provided. Access to books and other tools are also ensured. He turns to me suddenly. He turns to me suddenly, and his robes fluttered with a sharp turn. Do you have questions or concerns so far? None, really. Based on every... Well, fucking Christ. See, this is one of the things, is that in doing voice acting, which is basically like... This is a bastardization of voice acting, what I'm doing right now. But in voice acting, one of the most important things is like to stay in your voice. And this is why. Because when you're recording lines, you want to stay consistent. Because you're not always recording multiple lines in succession of each other. And if you go in and out of that character... your lines will become inconsistently sounding. As my audience is probably fucking well aware of at this point. Jesus fucking Christ. Based on every story about his sister, I expected to see starvation conditions, illnesses, injuries, or devices of misconduct. But everything here looks incredibly ordinary. I could easily see myself attending a school not unlike this in Batavia, had my parents been poorer. This is what I'm talking about. Cliff not seeing the obvious, not seeing the forest through the trees. This is the kind of development, this is the signs of development that you eventually need to see him grow through. He shouldn't go in and immediately see the problem here. This is what development starts as. So this is a good sign.
Caldwell makes a gesture with his wing for the two of us to follow him still.
While every child must learn to read and write, few pursue scholarly paths in isolation. It is crucial to train students to work with their hands just as well as their minds.
As he opens the door
fucking God, switching between those two is fucking impossible for me.
As he opens the door to the outside, we feel a wave of heat enter the building.
Oh, there's the bees.
But we come upon a field with bright green grass, and the sky is crystal blue. Goodness gracious, this is difficult to conceal my excitement. There's wildflowers and fruit trees of many varieties placed perfectly into snug raised beds. A low drone comes from boxes and boxes of honeybees, aligned in rows like soldiers. I can make them out even from far away, and I can see them flitting to and fro like fairies with iridescent wings, wiggling their wee fuzzy bodies free from pollen as a pixie would stardust.
Bees could be considered like the forebearers of a self-sufficient Fucking Christ! Bees could be considered the forebearers of a self-sufficient civilization. Without them, the flowers wouldn't breed. Without them, the fruit wouldn't grow. They live in harmony, communicating with one another to serve their queen, bringing life and treasure to all of God's creations. Creatures. Fucking Christ, can you not fucking read? There's no nobler creature than the humble honeybee. Do you like jazz? Fucking Jesus.
One is still wiggling its butt.
Yiska can show you how they are tended.
Oh, truly?
He's one of my best students. That is why he still tends to the bees and is granted privileges here and there, both here and there, for his ongoing toils past graduation. They are appreciated, Reverend. Oh, good, you got to fucking speak, eventually. Thanks for butting in there. Though you do have your helpers, don't you? Kids? Kids? Oh, see, this is another one of those signs of being a problem. Unless it gets revealed that Yiska is like a JoJo where he somehow has the body of a fucking 30-year-old bodybuilder, Adonis, and he's yet fucking in high school or something. A lot of times Westerners would see natives during these times of quote-unquote civilizing them with these missions as being uncivilized children. So this is... oh, jeez. Kids just like me. It takes particular tactics and temperaments to command respect. Take notes from him, Mr. Howlink.
He tends to go and then doubles back.
Oh, and if you finish with the bees early, do show him some carpentry as well. Yes, Reverend.
The bear exhales.
Fuck, that was not him.
The bear exhales when Caldwell is gone.
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. I take it you've never collected honey before.
I should say not. Why, I'd never forgive myself if I had crushed some by accident or made a mess of all the precious honeycomb. Besides, stingers hurt.
We have ways to protect you from that. Here, come to the shed.
We tramp on the whitewash shed with the pillow.
Imagine if that was the voice I chose for fucking Cliff. Yeah, like the one I did chose was that much more appealing.
Yiska unlocks it and lifts a heavy latch from several bars.
My apologies if you actually like the voice. I do, but it's not exactly music to the ears, is it?
It's very secure for a shed. Inside there's hats with nets tied to the brim and thick, hardy gloves made of reinforced canvas. There's an entire suit made of the material, too.
You can try the bee suit on if you need full protection.
Hardly necessary.
How do you know it's fucking necessary? You've never done this before.
If my paws and peepers are covered, there's more than ample protection for me.
Grab the hat and gloves, then. You don't need to put them on yet.
Right. Iska pulls something off of a barrel, and it looks like a metal can with billows attached behind it. And there's a long metal tip that's stomped with a cork.
Oh, the smoker. The villain of the bee movie.
What kind of contraption is this?
It's a smoker.
He takes the lid off and shows me a hollow well inside of the metal can.
We can start a flame with cardboard and pine needles that burns inside, and we can puff out the smoke using a spout and the billows.
Why do you need to make smoke?
It makes the bees docile.
He pulls a piece of cardboard off the shelf and rolls it into a little pan. He takes a lighter from his pocket, ignites it, and puts it in the smoker. We leave the shed, locking it behind us as the bear leans over to scoop dry pine needles off the floor, stuffing it into the smoker. He takes a while to do this, stuffing more pine nettles. Did it say needles before?
It said needles. Now it says nettles. I'm sure there's a difference.
In than I thought possible. And eventually he closes the top and squeezes the billows a few times to show me puffs of concentrated smoke emit in a direction out of the spout.
Now you want to put the netting on.
Righto.
Hey, we've got a little thing. I'm sure this won't be horrifying in a moment.
The bear squeezes the billows and aims the nozzle at the opening of the box where the bees are coming out. Thick puffs of smoke shoot their way into the boxes, and the droning gets louder. I thought you said they were supposed to calm down.
Give them 5 minutes.
I look in the distance. I see a young squirrel in a school outfit nailing planks together. An older male dog monitors her. A shape of it reminds me of all the flower beds around us. I have to resist asking to get involved. While we wait, is it true what the Reverend said? That the kids like you?
Oh, wow. Okay, so I misread that. Kids just like me, as in kids enjoy him, kids appreciate him. Oof. Got a little too ahead of myself there. I mean, what it said is true, it just wasn't appropriate to bring up at the time.
The kids like you?
They're blanks. They can see I'm strong and can do some things that they can't yet. That often impresses children.
Right, but he said they like you. Did they tell you much about their experiences in school?
No more than I already know.
So what do you know?
I feel like that's supposed to be a speech text there. Rewards come if you behave. Consequences come if you do not.
Consequences like what?
Weren't you punished in school when you didn't obey your teachers?
I've had my paw slapped by a ruler more times than I'd like to count. He nods.
I am treated well when I keep to myself and when I listen.
I see. He wipes his brow.
The bees should be calm by now.
He steps over to lift the box. The bees are all jittering, moving slower than they were before. He pulls out a wooden sheath that's covered on one side by drowsy-looking bees and a thick golden hive-like pattern of hexagons. Oh, that's beautiful.
The honey here has a distinct smell, too.
It smelled shyly of honeysuckle, but there was a strong melony scent of saguaro flowers within. Beautiful.
As the Reverend said, that's just a miracle of bees.
He scrapes off a nugget of waxy honeycomb and holds it out to my paw.
Try it.
I pick it off of his tool and plop it into my mouth. The crunch is followed by the bright floral taste, and it melts in my mouth. I can't help but lick it all off my fingers, which makes the bear start laughing. What? It's good.
I just picked you as a more delicate eater.
Not when I'm ravenous. I forgot that we didn't even eat breakfast and my stomach rumbles. The honey should hold me over for now.
Oh, well, they talked about having breakfast in the previous day, I guess, for probably worrying about Sam reasons. They just didn't do it.
The honey should hold me over for now. A sudden draft blows in and it blows soft ripples over the grass. Trees rustle and I feel cold air against my skin and smell the honey hovering over me.
Ah. What the fuck? What does that mean? I guess it might not be so bad here after... Oh! Oh, okay. I get you. It might not be so bad here at the reservation. I get you. Okay. Then, yeah, the fucking reservation's bad. Yeah.
Of course a score like that would seem normal to me. I never known much different. But it's different for the people who live under the thumb of this country. Despite how sweet the honey might taste, or how beautiful the land is here, these people still aren't given a choice in the matter what this country tries to do with them. But as soon as I pluck my own board of beeswax out of the hive, a sound disturbs the peace. Somebody barks out a call from the wheat field behind us. We both turn around, and my heart sinks a bit to see Sailor. I can tell he doesn't much care for me, but I don't want to cause any trouble. He starts talking in the Meseta language. I don't know if he knows, but I can understand him. I make out injury, beast, white, and corpses. Sailor's pointing out something in the cornfield, and Yiska is looking back. I can translate the bear's response to something close to, "Are you sure?" Sailor undeniably says yes several times. What are the two of you talking about? Sailor sucks through his teeth.
You should know.
Know what? The fox gives me a dirty look, but the bear gives him one that makes him stand down.
Follow.
We walk for a few minutes towards the center of the cornfield, and apparently I'm still going to wear the bee thing. Told you it would be horrifying. Oh, there, yep, here we are. I hear bees swarming. At least things that look like bees.
Oh boy.
Bee flies.
Oh boy.
And they're swarming a large chunk of meat on the ground. Looks like what remains of a pack mule, and I want to retch. This is awful. How did it die?
This isn't the only one. 5 penned pack animals were slaughtered last night that I've seen so far.
This is the work of that animal that was tracking us in the wood. So what does this mean? Sailor says something. It sounds an awful lot like no way out on foot or cart. What does he mean by that?
Don't concern yourself. Oh, here we go. Oh boy. I think I have a right to be concerned.
We hear the voice of the Reverend walking through the field in a surprisingly rapid gait.
I can hear all the way across the field that you both weren't speaking Albion. What's this commotion about?
Yiska suddenly looks very anxious. Sailor spits on the ground and turns away.
Oh. Yep. Address me, Sailor Begay!
Keeps on walking as he disappears into the cornfield. That man is out of order.
I apologize for his behavior, Reverend. I'll talk to him tonight. I'm less concerned with him as I am with you, Yiska. I know that you are not speaking Albion with him. Oh, what? What? Oh, yes. Oh, God. It was urgent. An old habit, nothing more. A habit that I had thought died, Yiska. You know what we must do. Come along, Mr. Van Howlink.
I'm not sure what's going on right now, but they're both very tense. Come along where?
To the sink! Where else? Oh, man. Are they really gonna wash his mouth out with soap? Because he spoke his native fucking language?
There's a small lean-to against the church with a sink and a spigot. Caldwell pulls out a bucket beneath the sink, producing a light-gray slab of chalky substance. Slices a sliver of the stuff off and
God.
Slices a sliver of the stuff and holds it in front of the bear's face.
Remember?
The bear isn't looking directly at him.
Yes, Reverend. Open.
I'm not sure what's happening in front of my eyes, but I don't like it one bit. Reverend, what is that?
It's soap, Mr. Van Howlink. The cheapest you can make with lard and wood ash. It's the only thing you need to clean a dirty mouth, though. Oh my. Big decision here. The obvious right thing to do is fucking stop him. If you try to stop him, is it going to fucking work? Let's fucking try it. The obvious fucking...
No, you can't! To blood it from my mouth before I can stop them. Reverend tilts his head at me and stares. I can't do what, Mr. Van Howlink? He looks rather annoyed, like I'm some sort of petulant child making a scene rather than pointing out that what he's doing is dangerous. Lie is toxic. It can leave chemical burns inside of his mouth.
Reverend, please.
Yiska's face looked very calm. Too calm.
Don't pay him any mind. Give me the soap.
I can't believe what I'm hearing. Oh my fucking...
Of course, my son.
Hard as it is to watch, I see the bear take the bar with very little hesitation and put it in his mouth. The Reverend nods and places his wing like a solemn parent on the bear's back as he watches the bear choke and sputter on the suds.
That's enough.
He speaks gently.
Now spit it out.
Some of the foam hits the grass as pink. Despite forced tears, Yiska looks up with a determined facial expression. He heaves as he continues to spit.
Don't let this memory fade as quickly as the last. Yes, Reverend.
I want to say something, but when I start, the bear looks at me with the first flash of anger I've seen in his eyes. He's angry at me.
What were the two of these men talking about, Mr. Van Howlink?
Does he want me to lie? Does he want me to tell the truth? I don't know. This is horrible. Something about corpses, I think? Something from the woods might be killing the stock animals. Caldwell looks at me like I've lost my mind.
All of these stock animals?
He turns to Yiska.
Go home and clean yourself up. Leave us.
He muffles something like, "Yes, Reverend," but it's impossible to tell what he really said. Caldwell takes a look at me as if I'm a child who dragged mud into his house and trembles.
Cornelius van Houwelink. The moment you stepped into this establishment, I've seen nothing but insubordination and indignation.
But I haven't done anything, Reverend.
Does it matter if you did? It's certainly somebody you brought along. I just made a loyal man clean his mouth until it bled for the first time in 15 years. These are extraordinary circumstances in the most nefarious sense.
He grabs me by the shoulder and drags me to the whitewashed shack. He unlatches the lock and throws me in.
And remove the church property you're wearing at once.
Sir, this is a gross overreaction to any sort of offense I could have afflicted you with. Address your quarrels with me at once, or I'll be reporting this either to my father or Mr. Hendricks. I look through the screen door covered in bars, expecting him to look back at me angrily, ready to quarrel, but that's not the case. His back is to me, and he's running away. What? I try to open the door, but I know it's locked from the outside. My body thuds uselessly against the sound of shaped metal. Caldwell! Come back here at once, Caldwell! I try to rattle the door, but it's just too heavy. So I don't notice how warm it is in here. I'm sweating, and I try not to panic about how I haven't drunk any water in hours. I bang again, hoping to see the man or the young girl who was out in the lawn. But I hear nobody. My arms at the back of my neck are already wet. I feel a little dizzy now, but I try not to panic.
Ooh, that got sharper.
Most of the things here are shovels, pots, and protective clothes. I can see that there's something behind this counter. A hand shovel. And look at the floor in sign relief. Dirt. I should be able to dig myself out. But I have to be careful not to waste energy or moisture. Look outside again for anybody.
Screaming for help. I'm not going to do that in an apartment complex. Again, help me.
I'm stuck in a shack. Nobody still. So that's in then. I'm gonna have to dig. I wipe my brow and look for the clearest place against the wall I can find. The first scoop of earth is very warm, very dry. It kicks up a cloud of dust. I have to turn my head to not inhale any. Below that, I'm happy to feel a cooler layer. It's not as tough to move as I thought it would be. But there's a lot of it. I think I see where the wall of the shack ends and the beginning of earth begins. And then I see concrete blocks. Oh, it sinks knowing I'll have to dig deeper. But there's no time to waste. Can't tell how long I'll do this for. The lighting outside has changed and I still hear nobody. I stand up to check for people every so often. Nobody comes on the lawn. Caldwell must have instructed them not to. Real deal ambitions or no, this behavior is not acceptable. One of the first things I intend to do after breaking out of this godforsaken cage is to find a telegraph machine and wire everything I know to my father and Mr. Hendricks. I do another scoop. And then another. That was on scoop 400 or so, but I start to lose count in the 300s. Everything goes sideways for a moment and I stop to breathe. I'm really thirsty. I take another scoop and I flinch when I hear a clang. What? Dig as quickly as I can with both hands. No. There's a mixture of rock and concrete below. I can't get out. The dirt was poured on top of rocks and concrete.
What is the purpose of this? My heart's beating faster. I'm starting to feel dizzy. I throw the trowel in frustration. The side catches the side of my nail. Ow. Awful noise comes out of me and I start to bleed a little. Oh, it doesn't look that deep. You! Brush yourself clean and come out of the dirt, you fool. Don't you say another word. Don't you say anything until you unlock this door. Relax. Jingles the key right in front of me. I'll let you out after you answer some of my questions. It's actually a pretty good use of this CG and sprite art. What questions? Like who among your party would have the strength to cleave the head off of a pack mule with a slicing weapon in one blow? I freeze. You couldn't possibly be blaming me for that. He looks me up and down and then scoffs. Certainly not you. Certainly not you directly. What about that mountain lion? He might be big enough. Sam? I don't think Sam knows how to use weapons. Besides, if he could, I don't think he could take something's head off. Then what would? We've found 8 carcasses already. 8? 8! And if I don't stop who's doing it before long, we won't have any long-distance transportation in or out of this settlement. Without a steady chain of supplies, we'll be behind schedule for all of our exports. Why do exports matter if you're self-sustaining? Because there's no harm in skimming some of the cream off the top here and there. Imbecile. You're terrible. No. I simply live in the real world. Your father mentioned that you don't, and I see what he means. My father? What do you mean? We gotta be careful with this, because he could be just bullshitting us, bringing up our father. Or Cliff's father. But, he also could be onto something. We gotta be careful here. What does he mean? He said that you're a little funny. Perhaps not formed quite right. Can't be trusted to make necessary choices for the good of yourself or your family. No, he didn't. It was a bit harsh to me when I first heard it. I thought to myself, certainly all God's creations are made as he intended. But it seems as though you're hell-bent on establishing something other than what God made you. What on earth is this Clifford Tibbetts nonsense? Who told you about that? I didn't share that with him. Who hasn't? Don't you know that people talk? Do you really think that the conversations you air with other people are sealed into small boxes that you can only open with the right key? He laughs. I'm trying not to cry. Do you really think that becoming a different man is as simple as putting on makeup and wearing your father's belt? I can read your entire story just by your walk, your gait, your tone, your letters, and the impressions that men of character have sent to me in private. People have been talking terribly about you for a long time before I ever met you. I can see now, right before me, that they are exonerated in their honesty. Who's been talking? My father? My mentor? My traveling companions? My employer? Is it all of them? I see before me an emotional, impulsive, gormless thing, playing as a man but stuck as something like a child. A thing. A thing that's neither a man nor child, Not anything I would want near God's children, nor his creations. Why are you being this cruel? The more I talk, the more I hear my voice struggling to get any noise out. My tongue is parched and my throat is sore. I'm so dizzy now from the sickness and this unbearable weight that I feel in my body that I can't see straight. He shakes his head. At this point, nothing you can say will convince me that you are worthy of this partnership. I'm afraid there won't be any deal between you or me. Your reputation wasn't solid to begin with, Mr. Van Howlink. And everywhere you go, it seems to crumble just a little bit more beneath your feet. Now you have brought your misfortunes to me and my people. I'll let you out of here, but I want you gone from this place first thing in the morning. He pulls a key from his pocket. Oh, holy shit, holy fuck, hold up. He gets interrupted. I didn't skip that. The first part I saw was I'll be telling Hendrix, and I'll be telling Hendrix to send somebody more reliable, and then I hear a giant thud like a tree trunk falling. Caldwell screams. Get away! I said get away! Oh! I can see what's going on, but I hear a tearing noise. For some reason, I start to hear the bees again. Or at least something that sounds similar to the bees. Caldwell screams more. I can see through a slat in the bars that he's on the ground. His wing is bent the wrong way and his breathing is raspy. God help me. Oh, man. His voice is different. It sounds wrong, like he's inhaling while he speaks. I reposition myself to look outside. I don't see anything. But I hear breathing. What are we going to see? What are we going to see? There's going to be something. There's no way they rigged up a way for you to see something through these bars without there being something else. Oh, what's it going to be? Soft, slow breathing. I want to back away from the door, but I don't want to make any noise. No, whatever out there is strong. Could rip the door open. Might even already know that I'm here. It's just waiting to rip off the door. I don't know how long I stand there, listening to Caldwell cry out in pain or listening for breathing sounds that I can't tell if I'm hearing or imagining anymore. But it gets darker. And nobody knows that I'm here but the priest, and he can't get up. Just as I'm about to cry, I hear a whistling sound. In the mist, I see somebody big walk this way. They have horns, and the light of the moon reflects off their glasses. My heart swells a little when I see Doc Avery. I call out to him. I'm saved. But I can't make a sound. My voice is shut. Airy, breathing, rasping sounds are all I can make. Huh? Oh, what do we have here? Again, help me. You have to get me in sight. You look like you're in real bad shape, Reverend. Broken arm, broken rib, half collapsed lung by the sound of your wager. Well, I'd hate to move you. Could cause internal bleeding. You might have to get could cause any internal bleeding. You might have to get worse. Reverend shakes his head, terrified. No, I'm sorry, Reverend, but I can't really tell what you're saying. I see the heron look in my direction, like he's asking me for help. I try to talk again, but it's not working. The dog hunches on his legs and watches him from a squatting position. You know, I was thinking he was doing this. But this is great. I was thinking for a second he was doing this, and then this is perfect. You know, if you want help, all you have to do is ask, Reverend. But that doesn't sound much like Albion to me. He's thrashing on the ground now.
His breathing sounds a whole lot worse.
I guess I can't really help those who don't know how to ask.
He stands up straight, watching the heron writhe.
But you do know what the worst thing about all this is, Reverend?
The heron is spasming the wrong way now.
With enough time, they'll just send another one of you who looks the same and acts the same. But I'm comfortable now, knowing you're the one who put the soap in her mouth.
I was thinking about it, and I'm like, there's every reason for Avery to fucking hate this guy. But, like, if this was for what happened to Yiska, it would make sense for Selah to be the one here. But, yeah, Avery was a perfect choice, not only because he's the doctor, but also because he's been trying to figure out who killed his sister, and there you go.
He wipes his glasses.
Have a good night, Reverend.
He readjusts his backpack.
I know I will.
And he starts to whistle. Then he starts to walk away. I panic again. I cry out to him, trying to force a noise. Pound on the door! But there's nothing. Take a trowel and bang on the doors, hoping he hears something. My heart leaps as his ears pick up. He looks left and right. And he starts to run. He's running because I scared him. He's so far away now. I start to think again that I'm really going to die here. And then I wonder who I'm going to die as. Will people remember who I wanted to be? Will any of them see me as I saw myself? Probably not. I start to wonder what my tombstone will look like. It reads just Cornelius. And it's buried nowhere near the rest of my family. I want to think that coming here was a mistake. But staying home would have been a mistake too. The mistake is me.
Professor Tippett?
Yes, I must be hallucinating.
Why are you beating on the door with a shovel? We're looking for you all day. Sam, there's stains on the ground over here. I don't care about that right now. We found Professor Tippett's. Sort of smells, though. What are you doing in there?
I try to speak again, but it hurts. It was locked.
Why do you sound like that? Sam, there's a scrap cloth over here that looks like a clergyman's robe. I think it must have belonged to the priest. You sure? It has to be. You think something might have happened to him? Like with the other animals the gods keep finding? He was old, right? And something must have happened to him if this is on the ground. Well, that's too bad. I didn't know him.
I start beating on the shovel. I start beating the door with the shovel to get his attention.
Oh there, partner. Calm down. We can figure out a way to get you out.
I try to shout, "Key!"
I think his lips are saying key. There's keys on the ring over here in the dirt.
I beat the door again, desperately. Murdoch steps close and winces. Oh God, he looks dehydrated. He fumbles with the keys, and within moments I hear a heavy latch lift. I stumble out, and Sam catches me.
Something's wrong. Something's wrong with him. We need to get him back to the hotel as soon as possible.
Sam flips me onto his shoulder, but something is off. He's holding onto two sticks, and he's only using one of his legs. Murdoch's offering him his arm as a support, and they're walking like contestants in a race where one is tied to the other's ankle.
Easy enough. He's lighter than his luggage.
I bury my face in his chest and feel myself floating. Hair brushes in the distance. The wind. The chirp of the crickets. Then it all gets muffled again. I feel somebody pouring something down my throat. It hurts at first. Once I start drinking, I'm desperate for more.
Slow down or else you chip the mug.
I sit up in bed. A damp rag falls off my head and some water and the mug spills on my chest. Murdoch is stirring something into a large barrel, and Sam gives me a withering look, holding the mug of water that's just lost some of its contents. What's going on? Oh, I'm thankful that my voice is back.
We're drawing you a bath. Because you stink.
I want to say that there's no time to bathe because Caldwell's dead and there's no telling who else could be next. I try to protest as Sam lifts me under my arms, shakes his head, and whistles as Murdoch forms suds with a rag and a piece of the nice soap with oats in it from his family store. Is this necessary?
We don't want the whole room to smell like weasel. Weasel! Ain't any mint perfume gonna cover that. We need purifying soap.
Unhand me!
You could have died from heat exposure today, Cliff. Just let us do something nice for you.
As he turns scrubbing my arms aggressively, then my chest, then my neck. This can hardly be considered nice. Murdoch's paws are all over my face, rubbing mint-scented oil into my whiskers and cheeks, smooshing them with abandon. He pours the bucket over my head without warning, and I'm left in place, breathing. Are you finished? They both nod. Okay. Please listen carefully. I think that the animal who hunted us at camp in the woods is still stalking us.
Oh, I know. Got my leg.
Just your leg?
You sound disappointed.
More like impressed, really. I struggle with whether or not I want to tell them or not, but I struggle more to hold this in. It got the Reverend.
I mean, we didn't see the Reverend's body go, but it's implied. Oh, God. He's really dead?
I didn't see him die explicitly, but somehow I know.
So he's gonna come back at some point, right?
He's really dead.
It didn't try to attack you?
Somehow it didn't even try to break into the shack. It might not have noticed me.
Hard not to. You really reeked.
My cheeks start to feel hot from embarrassment. Can you stop talking about that? I step out to the tub and hold my arms out to dry. Sam and Murdoch start to pat me down. I growl to get them to step back. They just start to laugh. Look at them laughing.
That's what it sounds like when a stoat growls. Sam, be nice.
But I can hear that he's on the verge of cracking up too.
I thought he found a helium tank to suck on.
To scream at them, let me dress myself. They both step back, and irritated that they bow. By the time I manage to slip into my pants, we hear a knock on the door.
Hello.
Just a moment. I slip into my shirt as quickly as possible.
I'm gonna let him in now.
My tie isn't even on. Impatiently, the fox pulls the door open. Jeb shuffles in and stops. He looks from blisters on my hand to the wrap on Sam's foot.
How y'all getting more injured in the settlement than on the journey?
Well,
that was a rhetorical question. Anyway, I just wanted to bring the news as fast as I heard it. Some of the natives are saying that they got the beast that was hunting us on the road. The thing that was following us? Yep. Turns out it was just a wild hog. A big old territorial hog.
And how do you know that? Jeb shoots me a look.
'Cause they found it goring the Reverend on the road last night the same way it was getting all the other animals.
As soon as he says that, I feel the blood drain from my face. I want to see it.
You sure about that? You might be a bit sensitive for carnage like that done to a person.
No, I'm quite sure. Show me. Murdoch grabs his camera.
I want to be sure too.
The only one who isn't moving much is Sam.
I'll catch up with y'all. I just want to manage some things. Don't take too long. We won't be going far down the road.
I'm going to go back and check something. Because they found it goring the Reverend on the road last night. The same way it was goring on the... Last night?
The night at last?
Yeah. Because we just got back. Why would he say that they found it goring the Reverend last night when we just got back from being trapped in the shed by the Reverend? That don't make no damn sense.
I wait until the other two leave the room and then walk up to Sam. I bend down and sneak him a kiss. He looks surprised.
What was that for?
It's just my way of saying thank you. More than ever. He scratches the back of his head bashfully and shoos me away with his paw.
Go on, kid. Like I said, I just need some time. It won't be long.
I nod, blushing, and open up the door, not much feeling the blisters on my hands right now.
There's no goddamn way that thing was a wild hog. Hogs are something you can see. They don't go all invisible all of a sudden or look like monsters in photographs. Whatever's out there still has to be out there. I want to check again to see how far Camp Rosa is. I search through my backpack and pull up the map, unwinding it. Whoa. Oh yeah, there's Providence. Okay, so yeah. The, Camp Rosa doesn't have the railroad. Providence has one. And the settlement is... in the total... I guess that's the fucking only other thing on the goddamn map, really. Other than Mesa, Peyton, and Colville. My confidence plummets again. That journey looks almost as long as the one from Echo. But if it's further away, maybe that means it's safer? I roll it up again and put it back. Once I'm outside, it's not very hard to see where I need to go. I follow the group of people arranged in a large circle in the middle of the road. What's ahead is one of the strangest sights I've seen on my journey yet. The bear, Yiska, is sitting on top of what first I thought was an old sequoia tree stump. But the closer I look, the bark becomes hair and skin. He's chatting with others in the Masada language, although it sounds like he has a slight lisp that he hadn't had before, as if he had a tongue injury. He's holding onto a spear in his left hand that punctured beneath the jaw of the great pig, and Selah is sitting next to him, comfortable. There's also a tablecloth soaked in red over a patch of what I assume must be the Reverend. I'm starting to wonder whether or not what we had run into in the forest really was an big old pissed off hog. As Cliff suspected, maybe we were hallucinating due to the natural gases. As I thought about this, I noticed something strange.
I don't see any guards around. Just our travel group and my state of townsfolk. But before I can react to this, something else sneaks up on me. It's the sound of a car. And it's pulling up behind me. As I turn around to look, it stops and 2 people come out of the car. Oh, Christ, of course, this motherfucker had to make an appearance. First, I can recognize immediately. It's James fucking Hendricks. But the other I can't make out until I hear him. Now, what the hell is going on exactly? Who is it? No! Oh, God. Of course, the sheriff shows up. Why the fuck would the sheriff of Echo need to be here? This settlement isn't under his jurisdiction. But, of course, he'd probably be here to try to track down Sam. And now that Sam... there's a fucking murder here right after fucking... right after Sam shows up. Oh, boy. Not good. Guess gotta reintroduce the main story somehow. Will walks up to the group and then stops in his tracks when he sees me. And just what the hell are you doing here? To be yeah. I'm... sure, fine, whatever. I guess we're doing that. It really feels like a pivot, doesn't it? Here's the credits screen. And wow, holy hell. A lot of fucking credits on this one. Holy fucking moly. Well, there they all are. Jesus Christ, that's a lot of fucking... that's a lot of names. Good golly. Alright, so that is what has been done of Cliffs since the last time I read the Cliffs route. My thoughts. Quite frankly, the change in writing does feel apparent. That's not in saying that it's worse. As to whether or not I would say if it does feel worse or not, I'd have to go back and read it again, what it was before. I can't speak to whether the rewrites were good or not because I didn't read the rewrites. So I can't say as to whether or not with the rewrites, whether the newer content is integrated more smoothly, which is something that I feel like would need to be done. With it all being said, the things I liked most about Cliff's route were the accurate portrayals, the subtleties of the character dilemmas, the moral questions, and how they were all going to be balanced. I also liked how different it was from the rest of it all. And it feels like the updates that I just read touched on some of the moral questions, kinda also pushed some of them away, and then reinserted a lot of the rest of the game back into it, which that can be argued as to whether or not that would be necessary or not. I can see why that would be necessary, as to not alienate this route away from the rest of the game. Because the rest of the game takes place in Echo with the rest of the characters, so why is this game this route, I should say, why is this route going to be so fucking different and so away from it all? It might feel like it's its own separate thing. Mind you, in games with separate routes, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I don't know. You just got to see where it goes, because the element of Sam being someone on the run becomes more prevalent if Will is around. And the element of James wanting to build a railroad becomes more threatening if James is there. So there's a lot to actually go through. Mind you, how the fuck did they do all this? How did they get there? Killing off Caldwell, the identity crisis, all of that is all stuff that is kind of... We're going to have to see where that goes. Will Sam stay? Will he go? The loyalty of the Meseta people to these possible outsiders that may or may not have their back. The white saviors. Yeah, let's see how that goes. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. All I can say is that I'm interested to see where it goes. I hope that it stays good. There were moments in this where I felt certain things were a little odd, and I vocalized it when it happened. But that may or may not have come down to the fact that I didn't restart the whole fucking thing over again. Maybe in the rewrites they made Jed, I don't remember. Maybe they made him more temperamental, so he was more sensitive, and so would come up, you know, how dare you say I was only right about one thing, and another thing, I was really fucked over on this thing, so you pay me up front. Maybe they made more of a deal about the identity, the crisis for Cliff, because they did mention it before, but it wasn't a central theme. The long-ass debate about spirituality in the middle of a scene that literally at one point gets like, I'm only doing this because I don't think you're going to remember any of it. Like that felt like immediately like you're saying it wasn't important. I don't know. And all of this is only how it comes across to me. Either way, I'm still interested. I'm still wanting to play it. And I'm still going to check out the other routes. So let me know what you all thought in the comments down below. And I'll see you next time. Thank you all for watching. And have a nice day. Bye-bye, everyone.